am Akanksha Joshi, a data analysis intern at StarTech Academy. In this video, I'll show you the solutions that I proposed to the given problem statements, and I have included it in a GitHub repository for easier access. You can go down to the description to go to my repository and take a look at all the solutions. Here I have also mentioned a README file which contains both the problem statements and the approach that I followed to finish the task. So I have made a repository subsection which contains the data sets for both the problem statements. Navigating back to the directory, you can see the data analysis folder which contains the solution to the problem statement 1. Now if you are trying to look at it, you'll have to download the raw file, which you can easily do using the view raw option, and you can view these files in your system. Starting off with the first task in the given problem statement is to analyze the data for a retail firm using different techniques. I have given the approach and the technologies and skills used in the file in the GitHub repository. As you can see in the dataset, we have different columns, different attributes accounting to the different features of a row. Here we can also see that all the data types can be different. For analysis, first we will create a pivot table for different types of outlets and their count. The file contains 4 different types of outlets that are grocery stores, supermarket type 1, 2 and 3. And we can see their corresponding counts. From the data, it is understandable that supermarket type 1 has the highest count. Now moving on to the total sales for different outlets, we can see the total sales per the outlet along with a grand total line, which can help us to know the sales per outlet. Next, we have created a pivot table which shows the total sales of outlets for different items. Now we can see the outlet types on one axis and different items on the other. Here we can see that we can also filter the items according to their fat content, and we can also select if specified items if we wish to. However, we can always go back using the Ctrl+Z option, so that gives us the total sales of outlets for different items having regular fat content. That concludes the first part. Moving on to the second part of this problem, here we are given a profit and loss statement for a given year of a company along with its net income. Now we'll analyze the data first by using the profit and profit margin per year. We can see that how this trend varies according to year using the given line chart, that it moves up in 2015, goes down, goes up again, moves down and again goes up. It helps us in a quick analysis of this dataset. And next we move on to the revenue column chart. Here we can see the year and the revenue per year, and we can also see the projected revenue for 2021. As the trend indicates, the revenue has been increasing over the years from 2016 to 2021. And we can also see that the minimum difference is between 2017 and 18, where there is not much increase in revenue. Moving on to the cost analysis pie chart. From the given expense breakup pie chart, we can see that the maximum amount of expense went on the cost of goods sold, along with the lowest being the rate of interest and middle being advertising. Next, we will be making a bar chart which will give an idea of the expenditure target versus the achieved revenue. We can see that the blue bars represent advertising, and the first one being expenditure and second is achieved. Finally, we will create a finance dashboard which will have all the 4 charts that we created for the analysis, which is easily presented to a group of stakeholders or to the members of your company. It gives out the net profit margin, revenue, expense breakup and expenditure target versus achieved. Here we can easily look at all the different components of the analysis and make a quick decision based on the historical trends and the descriptive analysis of the data. That is all for the first part of this problem statement, and that successfully concludes the task 1 for my internship. The second task or the second problem statement of my internship was to build a linear regression model to predict the CTC of new hires. To build this model, I have given the approach and technology skills in the README file. You can navigate to the data folder and look at the data sets that I have used for this project. Also, I have given a full description of all the methodologies used in the project. The CTC prediction file contains the solution to the second problem statement. We will start off by importing the required libraries, filter the warnings and ignore the ones that are displayed. We'll read the data from the file using the pandas read Excel method, and by taking an overview of the data set, we'll fix the column names as they are not right in the given file. Further, we move on to data cleaning by dropping the irrelevant columns, by dropping the serial number, dropping duplicates and rows with missing values. We can see our dataset is in a much better condition than before. Next, we'll convert all the categorical variables to numerical variables using the label encoder method. We'll use the label encoder and convert our whole dataset into a format that the machine learning algorithm can use. Now we'll move on by splitting the dataset into feature and label data frames. So we can see our X train data frame and also our Y train, which contains the labels, that is the actual CTC. We will also clean the test dataset using a similar set of methods by using the file label encoding all the categorical variables to numerical, splitting the test set into train X test and Y test. We move on by splitting the test dataset into X test and Y test, and also get an overview of what the final data frames are. Now we have got all the 4 data frames, that is X test, Y test, X train and Y train. So we'll implement linear regression by fitting in the values of X train and Y train. We have created a linear regression model and we can use it to predict the values of X test. Finally, we will evaluate our model using a metric of mean squared error. The plot gives a visual representation of the actual value to the predicted value. That is all for the second task of the internship. That marks the end of both the problem statements that I worked on during the tenure of my internship. Thank you.